Miss Penny, we're live on Facebook.
Oop, oh my goodness. I'm so sorry. Whew. I was busy reading my county paper and I lost track of what I was doing. We'll just say I'm getting old and forgetful. Sorry about that. Well, anyway, welcome to Penny's Reading Nook, although Penny was a little late to the Reading Nook, but technically I wasn't. I was reading my county paper. I just wasn't reading a storybook. My bad, huh? Well, anyway, welcome to Penny's Reading Nook. I'm here in the Patch office at Spencer, West Virginia, and I'm glad you're here with me today. Today we have some activities that are centered around polar bears. Ooh, when it's this cold time of the year, you always like to think of polar bears. So let's jump in and get started with our book, okay? The book I'm reading today is a National Geographic kids book, and this one is entitled Polar Bears, and this was written and illustrated by Laura Marsh. Oh, isn't that a cute picture? I think polar bears are cute. Oh, look, right there's a polar bear. He's saying, hey, welcome to my book. Glad you're here today. Who am I? I'm white and furry, and I swim in the sea. The cold snow and ice are just right for me. Who am I? A polar bear. Polar bear. Big bears. Have you seen a polar bear in a zoo? Polar bears are big. Really, really big. They are the biggest meat eaters on land. Did you know that? The biggest meat eaters on land. A polar bear can weigh as much as 7 men. Now let's just think about this for a minute. 7 men. So think of 7 men in your family, or 7 men that you see around town, or your teachers, and you think about that. 7 of them. That's as much as a polar bear can weigh. Don't think I'd want to meet him in a dark alley, huh? A polar bear's body is built for the Arctic. These bears have thick fur to keep them warm. Polar bears have thick fat too. The fat keeps body heat in and keeps the Arctic cold out. And right up here we've got word bite. Arctic. It's the area near the North Pole where it is very cold. And up here they've put some little questions in the book, throughout the book, to see if you can answer. So let's read this one. What do polar bears, hello, I can't read this morning. How do polar bears stay cool? Any ideas? It says they turn on bear conditioning. And that bear's like, seriously people? Hello, I'm in the water. I'm cold already. Powerful paws. Okay, right here we have long, thick, curved claws help grab their food easily. These thick pads right here keep their feet warm. Their front paws are webbed like duck's feet. This helps polar bears swim. So let's think about it. You know how a duck's foot looks? Well, they're saying a polar bear's foot is webbed like a duck. The bumps on the foot pads right here keep the bears from slipping on the ice. Big paws keep bears from sinking into the snow. The paws are larger than a dinner plate. Whew, did you just hear that? His front paw is larger than a dinner plate. So when you go and you sit down at the table tonight to have your dinner, you look at the plate that your food is on. That is the size of a polar bear's paw. Whew, my goodness. A polar bear's paws do many things. Paws dig dens in the snow. They break the ice to find the food, and they also pull food out of the water. And down here we have a word bite. Den, a hidden hole where a wild animal lives. Polar bear mothers have their babies in a den. Okay. Super swimmers. Polar bears are great swimmers. They spend a lot of time in the water. Their front paws paddle, and remember that's the one that's webbed like a duck's foot. Their back legs steer. Their fat helps the polar bears float. And down here, our word bite on this page, float, to rest or move in water without sinking. I think polar bears look really cute when they are swimming. What's for dinner? A polar bear eats other animals. So we learned earlier in the book that they said a polar bear is a meat eater. It's kind of the circle of life, so to speak. Seals are its favorite food. This bear is hunting seals on the sea ice. Seals come up for the air at holes in the ice. The bear waits, and finally a seal appears. The polar bear snatches it in a flash. And up here it says, what do polar bears eat for lunch? Any guesses? What do polar bears eat for lunch? The answer is ice burgers. Phew, these are some silly questions, aren't they? Polar bears have good noses. They can smell a seal 20 miles away. Whew, now think about that. That's like if we're here in Spencer, you would almost get all the way to the town of Ripley. That would be 20 miles. It's, I think, 25 miles. So think about that. A bear can smell that far away. That's pretty cool. I didn't know that. Polar bears also have good hearing and eyesight too. These come in handy when looking for dinner. This bear has spotted an Arctic fox. Run, little fox. The ice melts in spring and the summer. Polar bears stay with the ice when they can. They move to the land when the sea ice is mostly gone. On land, they usually don't eat at all. Some bears may eat bird eggs. They may eat plants or berries, but there is not much food for polar bears on land. Okay, well, we have another question. Let's see. Where do polar bears keep their money? All right, so if a polar bear has money, where is he going to keep it? In snowbanks. Oh, they crack me up. Bears in town. Ooh, I'm not exactly certain about that. In Churchill, Canada, polar bears come to town in the fall. The ice is melting earlier each year. It is forming later too. The bears are hungry and they are looking for food. Our Earth is getting warmer. There is less sea ice now. This is dangerous for polar bears. They need the ice to hunt. And up here, oh, this is a funny one. What do you call a bear with no teeth? Any guesses? A gummy bear. Oh boy. 7 amazing polar bear facts. Number 1, the largest polar bear ever recorded was 2,209 pounds. That's the weight of a small sports car. Whew, can you imagine that? Wow. Number 2, polar bears have black skin underneath their white fur. Number 3, sometimes polar bears get too hot. Then they take a swim or a roll in the snow. Number 4, walruses are one of the few animals that polar bears are afraid of. Did not know that. Number 5, some people go on vacations to see polar bears. They ride in special buggies to stay safe. Look how high the buggies are off of the ground. And they can see the bears. Number 6, polar bears can eat 100 pounds. I'm having a hard time this morning, boys and girls. 100 pounds of seal fat at one time. That's about as heavy as 400 hamburgers. Oh my goodness. Can you imagine the bellyache after eating 400 hamburgers? Hello. Whew, that would be horrible. And number 7, Polar bears clean themselves by rubbing their bodies on the snow. It's kind of like their bath. Cute cubs. Every new polar bear is special. A mother bear has babies called cubs. She digs a den in the snow. The cubs stay safe and warm in the den. Look at them all curled up there. The cubs drink their mother's rich milk. They grow quickly. Soon they are big enough to leave the den. Up here we have a word bite, cub, a baby bear. A mother polar bear teaches her cubs to hunt. She also teaches them how to stay safe and warm. The cubs leave their mother when they are 2 years old. They are ready to live on their own. Can you imagine leaving your mom at 2 years old and being ready to live on your own? Whew, I don't know about that. Oh no, we have another question. Prepare yourself. Let's see what this one's going to be. Why do polar bears have fur coats? Any guesses? Because they look silly in jackets. Can you imagine a polar bear wearing a jacket? It's like, oh, I'm having a hard time zipping my jacket. Whew, goodness. Oh, it's so silly. Playtime. Polar bears like to play just like you. Bears wrestle with each other. They slide in the snow, and they like to play games too. Sometimes a cub gets a ride from mom. These bears are off on an Arctic adventure. And look at that little fella. It looks like he's about to fall off. He's like, wait, mom, wait till I get up there, mom. Okay, here's another question. What is a polar bear's favorite breakfast? Guesses? Ice Krispies. Oh boy. And this is what in the world? These pictures show up-close views of things in a polar bear's world. Use the hints to figure out what's in the pictures. Then it says answers are on page 31. So the answers are on the next page, but they're down here. We're going to try to cover those up. All right, number 1, a hint. It helps find dinner. What do you think that is? You're right. It's the polar bear's nose. And if you look closely, you can see the polar bear's black skin through his white fur there. Okay, number 2. The hint is you don't have one of these. So look closely at that picture right there and think, you don't have one of these. What is it? You're right. It's a tail. We do not have a tail, do we? Okay, number 3. The hint is a polar bear's favorite food. That's right. It's that cute little seal. But that's a part of life, boys and girls. It's called the circle of life there. And number 4, the hint is keeps a bear warm. Remember what keeps the polar bear warm? You're right. It's his fur. Good job. You guys are so smart. Number 5. The hint is built for snow, ice, and water. What was that? A bear paw. And remember, that paw right there is the size of the dinner plate. Whew, goodness. And the last one, number 6. The hint is polar bears are afraid of this animal. What animal in that book? Do you remember? It was one of the 7 facts. You're right. That is a walrus. Good job. And then right here we had the words. It was like that word bank throughout the book. We had the Arctic, which is the area near the North Pole where it is very, very cold. A cub is a baby bear. A den, a hidden hole where wild animals live. Polar bear mothers have their babies in a den. And the last word, float, to rest or move in water without sinking. The end. That was a pretty good book. I really like the National Geographic kids books. You learn a lot of fun facts in there. Well, we've learned some facts about the polar bears. So now we need to do a polar bear project, okay? And that has a little something to do with my newspaper. newspaper that I was reading this morning. We are going to make a polar bear from the newspaper, okay? So for this project, we're going to have a few things. Number one, we have to have a county paper. Number two, we have to have some shapes. And if we look at the polar bear, he had what shape is the polar bear's head? You're right, it is a circle. Okay, so we are going to have a circle for that. And then I have a pattern for his, kind of like his body, the top part of his body, or like his chest of his body there, okay? Then we have to have the part where his nose and his mouth is going to go, like his muzzle right there. And then we have to have a shape for the ears. Now, I have a pattern because when we do things like this, building blocks, I have to make a whole bunch of these things. And I want the kids to cut them out. So I trace them on the paper. Do you need to make a pattern like this? No, you don't have to. You can get your scissors out and be creative and make your own shapes, okay? Don't have to do it the same way I do it. You can tweak it. So, we've got our county paper. So now let's get a page out from the county paper. We'll just use this page right here. Leave that there in case I run out. So, we're going to look at our county paper and we're going to take our circle and we're going to find a place to put our circle. We'll put it right there. You're going to need your pencil and we're going to trace around our circle. Great job tracing our circle there. Okay, so we've got our circle traced. Now, before I start cutting, we'll just go ahead and get all our other pieces cut. Right here. Let me see if I can get this over here where you guys can see what I'm doing, Kind of hard to see what I'm doing if we don't have an up-close shot. Let's go right there. Trace around that. You know what that shape is? It's like an oval. It's not completely round like a circle. It's an oval. My pencil's not doing a very good job tracing today. Okay, so I've got the muzzle. I've got the circle for his head. Now I need to make his body. Well, let's go up here and get Mary Jo Sennett's home cooking recipes for that one. Okay, we're going to trace that. Okay, and then we need 2 ears. Let's go to, let's go to the campus corner and get our ears. This is a good way to reuse your county paper. After your mom and dad's done reading the paper, you can have them, oh, I didn't scoot that over far enough. You can have them say, Mom, don't throw that paper away. I'm going to make a recycled polar bear. We're going to recycle that newspaper. Okay, so we've got our pieces and now we need to cut them out. All right, so let's go around here and do this. Cut us a big piece. All right, so I have to kind of put the paper up here where I can see it because my pencil didn't do a real good job tracing. So after we've traced our pieces on our county paper, we are going to cut them out. All right, so there's one ear. Let's get the other ear. And you might look at, while you're cutting, see if you recognize any of the words that's in the county paper. If you're working on sight words, see if you can find any of the sight words you know in the paper. Okay, so now we're on to the body. Cut, cut, cut. And remember, when you cut, thumb in the little hole, fingers in the big hole, thumb up when you count. Or when you count. Oh boy, when you cut. And you want to try, instead of turning your scissors, turn your paper as you cut. Makes it easier for you to cut. Just think about it. Wouldn't it be kind of hard to cut like that? Boy, it would. But if you turn your paper, it's a lot easier to cut it. Okay? So now there I have his body, the top part of their body. All right, now what do we have left to cut? We have to cut out his face. That's that large circle. So we cut out the circle. And remember, turn the paper, not your scissors. See how I'm going to do that? Do, do, do. My hand stays in the same spot the whole time. I just moved my circle. Okay, there's my circle. Okay, so we have the circle, we have his head, the ears, the body. What's left? The spot right there for his mouth and his nose. You're right. I'll cut that out. That was on the Jack Garrett's advertisement for pre-owned vehicles. All right, so we've got all of our pieces cut out from our county paper, right? Okay, so we've got our one here that it's already completed. We need to make another one, okay? Let's see if we can get them to where we can kind of see both. There, okay. So the first thing we see is we need some snow back here in the background for the polar bear. What I did is I just take a piece of white construction paper, a large piece of white paper, and we're going to tear it. We want it to go up and down like you've got the hills of snow. I'm going to tear my paper. Okay, so we've got that, right? All right, then we need to get out our handy dandy glue stick. Okay, and then we're going to put some glue on the back of it. And we'll glue our paper on for our background of our snow. Okay, you're going to put it down, you're going to line it up with the bottom of your blue paper. Okay, so there we have our snow. Okay, now we need the polar bear's, what? We need the polar bear's body, you're right. And that was the recipes we had. So let's put some glue on that one. Okay, and we're going to put that one on right there. Okay, now we're going to set this aside for just a minute while we work on the polar bear's face. Okay, so we've got the polar bear's face right here. We need the ears. Now if you look on my one that I already have made, you'll see that we've made a little black spot on the inner part of his ear. So for that we need a black magic marker. Okay, and we will just go, let me put this under. And we're just going to make like an oval there, almost like a rainbow arch in a way. And color that in. You can use crayons, you can use your magic markers, whatever you want to use for that, okay? So there's one ear done. Now let's do the other one. And we've got that colored in. Okay, now then, we've got the spot right here where we need to make his nose and his mouth. Okay, and that's where we were using our oval. So we've got it right here, and his nose is kind of like an upside down triangle. So we're going to it's almost like a rounded triangle, so to speak, okay? And then color it in. All right, and make a little line down. And then let's give him a gigantic smiley face. Hello, boys and girls. Okay. Now then, let's get busy to glue these things on, okay? So let's glue his nose on first. Put some glue around that. I'm going to put that on your circle right about there. Okay. Now we need some ears. Put the glue on the bottom of one ear. Put it over here on one side. And then some for the other side. Let's have both his ears on. Okay, there's the polar bear's ears. Now for this one I used 2 large wiggle eyes. Now if you don't have any wiggle eyes at your house, let's draw our own, okay? It's a quick fix. So get out your black magic marker and we're gonna make 2 eyes for our polar bear. And then let's color in a circle there. Oh, we got right there. There's his eyeballs. All right, so there's our polar bear's face. Now let's get our piece back that we set off to the side because we're ready for it now. And then we're going to glue our polar bear onto that. Okay, put the polar bear there. All right, and the last thing we need for our polar bear is what? We need some snow falling. So for that, I just got out my little bottle of white paint. Let's move our finished polar bear there. And you can get out a Q-tip. Dip your Q-tip in the paint. And then let the snow fall where it may. Is it going to be a blizzard? There are going to be a lot of snowflakes in your picture, or they're just going to be a few, like a snow shower or some snow flurries? I think on mine I'm just going to have some snow flurries. There we go. Now, with all that, we are finished. And we made a very cute polar bear using the county paper that we'd already read. We recycled that. So, I hope you enjoyed all the stuff we did today. And I'd say excuse me, and I'm so sorry about reading that paper when I was supposed to be doing something else. But it was all in fun, right? Right. So, you know what? I'm done. And I hope you have a great, great day. And I will see you next time, boys and girls. Bye-bye. Mwah.